Another big story today, lots of attention to our neighbor to the east, just across the river in Wisconsin. Voters there heading to the polls to decide the state's next Supreme Court justice, a race the White House is watching closely. Folks on the other side of the aisle watching very closely, nearing $100 million in spending. It has become a national story about a judicial race in a state. Joining us is Jason Calvi, the political reporter for our sister station, Fox 6 in Milwaukee. Thanks for taking time out on what's a busy day, certainly for a political reporter. What has it been like for you to cover this, certainly in the weeks leading up to it and then today?
Well, it hasn't stopped. We had the 2024 election where this was one of those crucial battleground states that helped decide who won the White House, and then went right into the next election cycle. Here we are in April 2025, and so much is on the line right now. The future of the Wisconsin Supreme Court is on the ballot today. Right now, it's controlled by the liberal side. They have a 4-3 majority of the state Supreme Court. And they've only had that majority for 2 years, since 2023 when they flipped the court. The conservatives had control of that court for 15 years before that. And so much is on the line when you think about those most pressing and controversial issues, both at the national level and at the state level, across the border from you guys here in Wisconsin, thinking about things like abortion or things like union rights for public sector unions. There's been many major restrictions on that under something called Act 10 that your audience may remember from the protests that happened in 2011 here in the state. The Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled on that case back then and said it was constitutional. So much of the pressing and controversial issues at both national levels and state level go through the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Yeah, but let's talk about how these some of these issues have been issues previously, but the change is here now that these issues and this court has turned into a national, almost a proxy battle. When did you see that sort of ramping up, that this suddenly had interest from across the country because it was seen as sort of a bellwether for what agendas might be happening across the country and how voters might react to that? I mean, where did you see that suddenly take that turn?
I think we have seen that over the course of the last 2 months, I would say. But really, we're just a few months into this new administration, the new Trump administration, and this is sort of a proxy battle. When people are looking at it from the national perspective, they're seeing this as a referendum on the current President Donald Trump, his second term in the White House. We're also seeing it as a referendum on Elon Musk, because if you come over the border and watch the commercials, you're going to see commercial after commercial after commercial. Some of those are being funded by Elon Musk on the right. And on the left, you're seeing big bucks as well. As we said, this is now, as you mentioned, topping $100 million Supreme Court race. That is the national record. It really shattered the national record with funding because, again, like I mentioned earlier, what's on the line are so crucial, these crucial issues, and also seen at the national level as a referendum on Donald Trump, who flipped battleground Wisconsin back in 2024. He turned it from blue in 2020. It went to Joe Biden. 2024, it went to him. And he won all those battleground states in 2024. So we're really seeing it as a referendum, the first election of this new presidency, this new era for the Trump administration's second term in the White House. And you're seeing that with the campaign money as well, because I mean, you can't escape it. Whether it's people knocking at your door, the mailers, you're getting phone calls all the time, text messages, and the campaign ads on television, internet, YouTube, as well as on the radio, nonstop campaign ads. The last record nationally was also set in Wisconsin. That was 2023, when that race topped 56 million. Now we're almost double that at $100 million for this state Supreme Court race.
So what do you think here then, after the results of this, tonight when we learn which side won? Again, we talked about the potential ramifications for Wisconsin, for how it may determine some of these issues. But the ramifications nationwide, which again, as you said, a couple of months into the term of President Trump, the second term, Elon Musk, et cetera, that it may be a referendum on what voters think that they're doing. I mean, where do you see this then reverberating into the rest of the country? What's sort of the fallout from this, whichever the outcome is?
Right. Yeah, I think, people are going to be looking for clues as far as what happened in 2024. Was it a fluke? I mean, the fact that President Trump won all of the battleground states. Now we're in this swing state again in Wisconsin, a 50-50 state. What's going to happen? Was 2024 a fluke, or can the wins that the conservatives had in the fall here in Wisconsin, can those continue on when Donald Trump's name is not on the ballot? That is a key question that we've been asking. And now we're going to get that test today in Wisconsin, as well as in Florida, where they have some special elections for the U.S. House. We're going to see whether that momentum from the fall for conservatives continues on, or was it a fluke? And liberals, Democrats, they're looking for a big win here too as well. They were so defeated after losing the White House so much in 2024. They're looking for a win here. This is a place that potentially they could continue to maintain control of that Supreme Court state level, but then all the ramifications at the national level as well. That's where you're seeing all these big bucks coming in from the left. People like George Soros in Illinois, our neighboring governor J.B. Pritzker, donating $1.5 million to the Democratic Party in Wisconsin. J.B. Pritzker did. And that money then goes to the Crawford campaign to help her win this officially nonpartisan race. There's no D's or R's on the ballot, but let's be honest, Democrats are backing Susan Crawford, and conservatives are backing Brad Schimmel. Those are the two names on the ballot, and we're going to really find out exactly where the state falls as polls close here in battleground Wisconsin at 8 p.m.
Yeah. One more quick question, and I'll let you go because I know it's a busy day for somebody with your beat here. Did you get a sense here in talking to the electorate, the voters in Wisconsin, of how they're reacting to all this attention and all this money coming in? With Elon Musk showing up in Green Bay the other night and all this attention. How are people taking that? Do they like it? Do they not like it? What do you think?
Well, I think one of the things that we have bipartisan support for in Wisconsin is they're going to be happy when election day is over, when those campaign ads go black, which is just a few hours away as the polls close. But we're used to the attention, right? So the last go around in 2023, when we had a Supreme Court race, it was the record setting for the whole nation, the most expensive Supreme Court race ever back then in 2023. Now, again, we're almost doubling that here in 2025. So it's not a surprise. It's not unusual for us to be the center of the political firestorm. We saw that in 2024 when you had, all the candidates coming through, including your governor coming through Wisconsin. Seemed like they almost were living here, the campaigns, because they really wanted to win this battleground state. So we're used to the attention. I think there's going to be relief when it's over. But again, the counting of the ballots is going to take time because, and it's important to remember, we can't start processing absentee ballots until the polls open this morning at 7. So all those ballots need to be opened up. They have to kind of iron them out. They have to check the signatures on the outside of the ballot envelope, and then they can finally put it through the machine and start counting them. So it takes time. Give us a little bit of patience, or have a little bit of patience as those results come in. Again, polls close at 8, and it could take many, many hours until we find out whether this Supreme Court's going to go left, stay left, or flip back conservative.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I know you got the day's just going to get busier for you from here, and a potential long night here, an early morning tomorrow. So Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time so much.
Great to be on.
Yep. Love Wisconsin. All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Again, as he's talking about this Supreme Court race in Wisconsin that has just really garnered so much national attention because, again, it's seen as is by a lot of observers, whether it's seen by the voters there or not, but certainly from those in the political circles nationwide, it's seen as a defeat for the Trump and Elon Musk-backed candidate. Certainly the liberals, the Democrats see that as potentially a big win for them that would have reverberations nationwide to say, look, here you go, a couple months in and people don't like what you're doing. Certainly on the other side for President Trump and Elon Musk, who's invested a lot of money and a lot of time, they also would say, look, we won. That shows that the voters are approving of what we're doing so far and so quickly in the first couple of months in the White House, where they're moving very fast. So that's why there's so much attention on this, is people really see it is that not just the effects it would have on rulings in Wisconsin on some very contentious legal issues. Ryan, we're ready to get to our next guest here. Live in western Wisconsin as we continue on this topic, the Dunn County Clerk, Andrew, pardon me, I hope I'm saying this right, Andrew Mercil?
That works. Yeah.
Yeah, works. Okay. Joining us live, Andrew is the county clerk in western Wisconsin. I understand that you've been kind of out and about checking out polling locations across the county, just as part of your job to observe and make sure things are running smoothly. So many pre-votes here, so many early votes. I thought it was like 644,000 through Sunday. What are you seeing today at the polls?
Yeah. So one of the things that, as an election administrator, all the county clerks in Wisconsin serve as their local election administrator. We try to get out and about to make sure that we're checking in with the poll workers and the polling locations just to make sure everything's running smoothly. What we've seen here in Wisconsin, especially in western Wisconsin, is a very high number of turnout in not only absentee ballot requests, but also what people usually refer to as early voting. And in Wisconsin, we say in-person absentee voting, right? People showing up to vote before the election. And we've seen a big increase in that as well. There's a lot of attention on this election, and I think people are really paying attention to what's going on here in western Wisconsin as the first big election post November 2024.
With all the people that did vote in person absentee, what is the anticipated effect, or what have you seen in terms of the actual same day turnout today?
Sure. So we always process in Wisconsin all the absentee ballots and the regular in-person voters on election day. We don't do any early processing in Wisconsin. So we kind of look at the overall number. In a larger election that we had the last time we had a state Supreme Court race, voter turnout was about 47% here in Dunn County. We're on track to probably surpass that and potentially be up to 60% of voter turnout here in western Wisconsin and Dunn County. So we'll see what happens, but it's very exciting. We've had steady lines of voters all day long throughout the county and all the different polling locations.
Wow, and how do those day of voting lines compare then with other recent elections, especially judicial elections, again, considering so many people have already cast a ballot?
Yeah, it's interesting to see that when we have these judicial elections, which is getting a lot of attention in western Wisconsin, and throughout the state of Wisconsin, I should say, when actually every spring in Wisconsin we have elections. It's for the local candidates on the ballot. It's municipal boards, town, village, city councils, school boards, and oftentimes in the even number years, we always have a county board election. So the spring elections are always really important because it's the elections where the people who are voted in are making decisions on people's everyday lives, right? They're fixing your roads. They're providing the services that are essential for people's daily functions. And so that's really important as well. So it's kind of one of those things that we like to see increase voter turnout because it makes the elections in the spring that much more impactful when we have high voter turnout.
Okay. Well, you probably got a long day ahead as well, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out from a busy Tuesday, April Fool's Day, but no joke about this. This is a very, very high-profile race. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right.